As a population, Chinese Americans stand 5.4 million strong, but many of us have never felt so unwelcome in our own homeland. In an effort to understand and address the unique needs of the Chinese American community, the Committee of 100 collaborated with Columbia University and more than 100 partner organizations to launch a survey called the State of Chinese Americans. This survey collected data from nearly 6,500 participants across 46 states.
And I am a fourth-generation Chinese American born and raised here in San Jose. And did you know that here in this location of this hotel was the location of one of the 5 Chinatowns that was burnt down in the city of San Jose. Many of the Chinatowns were actually sanctioned to be burnt down by the city council in the history of the city of San Jose. And when we think about that dark history, we can also remember.
My role today is as a leader of the Computer History Museum, the leading museum of computer technology, and which is affecting all of our lives. I also have a history of being a political economist at Stanford, where for 20 years I was at the business school in the Asia Pacific Research Center, doing research and helping leaders around the world, including in Greater China, build high-tech regions. Now this topic is not only professional, but it's a personal passion for me. I was raised in Silicon Valley. My family name is Gong, Sanjian Shui, Jiang, Rui Lian is my Chinese name, and my grandfather immigrated from southern China. Now he was the son of an immigrant who came and started with a Chinese laundry, and then an entrepreneur, opened a grocery store, and out of their 6
to our contributions to the American society, there is a lot to celebrate. However, Chinese Americans are also in turbulent times. My task this morning is to give you some context to lead into the conference. Now, first of all, let us be clear. This is not new. Turbulent times never ended since the first arrival of the Chinese Americans in the U.S.
Issues and a lot of things that are at stake that intersect with our lives. And part of that solution is our engagement and creating a culture of democratic participation within our communities. Since 2020, we saw finally our voter participation rate increase to 60%. So we're heading in the right direction. 18 to 29-year-olds since 2018 has also been increasing, but yet they still have the lowest voter participation rate in comparison to white, black, and Latino youth, right? But at the same time, we also saw it as early voting and mail-in ballots actually become more accessible. Our community grabbed onto those opportunities.
Series so that the teachers understand our history. We're in about 10 states. This weekend, we're releasing the first third of our graphic novel that is being produced with the Asian American Foundation. And just a few weeks ago, we did a school assembly for 400 students, K through 6, in Monterey Park, California. 400 students, young students, and they really loved the program. And now we're being asked to do school assemblies at other schools as well. But we're finding that our goal is to reach 1 million American students of all different backgrounds in the next 7 years. Each school is different. So you could be a champion for the school that your children...
Just a few days ago, I was in Washington, D.C., and let me first say how happy I am to now stand in front of normal, rational kind. Thank you, Ken, for that wonderful introduction. My only correction to that is I'm a recovering computer science major. So, I want to thank the Committee of 100 for the great work that you do. Thank you all for participating and being civically and politically engaged. I thought I would talk about 3 disruptions.
Project, you need energy. You need vision, energy, you need power, you need perseverance, you need to believe in you can do it. So why I want to be part of it? Because this is not only for our generation, but for our children's generation, for our children's generation. And Chinese had an ageless idiom saying, a journey of 10,000 miles starts with the first step. That saying was 2,500 years ago, quite. So today is like a journey to the Mars, right? But we can do it. And I think if African American community did it for 75 years, Latino American community has been doing it for 30 years, still working on it. I think those communities paved the way for us. We can do it, maybe hopefully in our lifetime. I think this needs.
Because trade and economics do affect the relationship, but the relationship itself also reflects how trade and economics are conducted. It's my pleasure to be joined today by three outstanding panelists. Due to the constraints of time, I'm not going to repeat their biographies. They're in your program materials. But to my immediate left is Margaret Wong, who's the president and CEO of Wong International in California. Then in the middle is my own law partner, Catherine Pan, from our New York City office and head of our China practice at that firm. And Andy Tang, who's a partner at Draper Associates, one of the pioneering venture capital firms here in the Valley. We were to have been joined today by Ben. Ben sends his regrets because of the last moment travel adjustment. He couldn't fly in to San Jose to join us today, but sends his regrets and apologies.
We had scientists all over the world working together to help introduce vaccines, antibodies, and other treatments for COVID. But we didn't do all that well in the public to private collaboration. And I think much more could have been done, especially early on in the pandemic. And I would hope that WHO, CDC, NIH, so on down the line, pick your regulatory agency in your part of the world, I would hope that they would be working together, having dialogue, as Jim mentioned, about, hey, you know, this really shut us down, shut our economies down, it made it hard for people to live and work. How can we do better the next time around? Now, that's the pandemic. That's an infectious disease, a respiratory virus. What about cancer? What about heart disease? These are disease areas that, unfortunately, were pushed to the side during the pandemic, and people are returning to their physician offices, returning to their...
So, the reason why we've decided to work on #MyHappiness is because of the raising hate against our community. And all the negative news that's been happening in the traditional media, social media, and just everywhere we see. So we've decided to do just the opposite and showcase all the positive things that's been happening in the community, all the wins, and encourage the members in the AAPI community to join this movement and eventually encourage other community members besides AAPI to join it so that it bridges the gap of misunderstanding, the common misunderstanding of our culture, and being positive but still hating, fight against hate. And so, and eventually, once we have this channel, we wanted to link it up with Committee 100 so that Committee 100
programs come up. Cafe Natty was an organization that provided free Uber rides to AAPI essential workers who were too scared to take the New York City subway home. We had self-defense classes in local parks. We saw high school students coordinating grocery deliveries for homebound seniors. We also saw pepper spray and safety whistle giveaways and more. Some initiatives were even created and supported by Committee of 100 members themselves.
Thank you, Oscar.
Thanks, Oscar. It's whistles for everyone. Many groups and organizations were created to really fill the need that was highlighted by the pandemic. And while some of these groups have stopped because the need has changed as we kind of create our new normal, many of these groups still continue because they fulfill long-standing needs. These groups still need support because people still need support. And as we saw and as you saw during the video, something as simple as even delivering a meal to a senior can make a really big difference, especially when it comes to my young person, as we work to find a new normal.
So C100's creation was motivated by the fact that there was no centralized platform to direct resources and giving to address the social needs and challenges.
To the advancement of Chinese Americans and to the promotion of constructive dialogue between China and the United States. However, we face real challenges and difficulties, so more needs to be done. The more difficult the situation, the harder we should work. And I do believe that a conflict is in nobody's interest. If the two countries are able to have more mutual respect, coexist peacefully and engage in win-win cooperation, everybody will be better off. The better the relationship.
Committee 100 to invite me to this wonderful event. Listening to the panel discussion this afternoon, I found that Committee 100 is not only focusing on China-US relations, but also AAPI-US relations. So I'm very happy to be here, and I would like to work very closely with my Chinese counterpart, Consul General Zhang, and I would like to promote this cooperation among AAPI communities. Asian communities, AAPI communities in the United States should be more united than before. So I'm very happy to be here, and congratulations for the successful event today. Thank you very much.
I would say that first, obviously, Bucky alluded to, we have very little influence outside with regard to the geopolitical state of play that currently exists between the People's Republic of China and the United States. But what we can do in terms of what we talk about, with regard to the FBI, the way we describe and the words we use to describe how we counter the PRC's malign influence matters as much as what we actually do. Words matter. In this particular area, you all, unfortunately, have lived that experience of what happens when words enrage and inflame xenophobia and racism, right? We understand that what is spoken about the relationship and how we view the relationship between the PRC and the United States has a direct result and impact for the lives of many people in this room and the communities that we're here to talk about today. So I just want to say that from the FBI's perspective, we take a lot of time and deliberation in identifying better ways to communicate and get the message out about what it is we care about and what it is that we do, and more importantly, what it is that we don't do and that we refuse to do. So I think, number one, what does the FBI care about? Protecting the American people and upholding the Constitution. There isn't a single directive within our remit that is mutually exclusive of the rule of law, of values, of ethics, not a single one. Every single day, decisions are made to pursue an investigation or to not pursue an investigation, to pursue a prosecution or not to pursue a prosecution, to take an investigative step or not to take an investigative step, if it is not consistent with our values, period, full stop. In terms of the investigative aspect of what does it take for the FBI to get involved, or what does the FBI care about when it comes to our investigations, it's essentially individuals who are committing or violating federal statutes and or threats to represent a threat to national security. And that burden of proof, that evidentiary or materiality standard, is the same, consistent across all violations, whether it's bank robberies, whether it's economic espionage, whether it's terrorism, it doesn't matter. The evidence standard is the same. What I will say is, I've been with the FBI for 16 years, the majority of that time working counterterrorism. I will say that currently where we are now, our position is informed by a lot of lessons learned in counterterrorism, where we found ourselves in a situation where the age of the violators and the offenders was getting.
From the pandemic of COVID, I've realized that our storytelling needs to be different. Our storytelling needs to focus on solutions, on education, on bringing each other together, and that is only possible through communication. Communication with events such as this. So that's why when I was asked to be part of tonight, I said, absolutely, I would love to, and throw my support behind the Committee of 100. So thank you all for what you do. You all give me hope that with better understanding, we shall see a more harmonious, more peaceful, and more tolerant.
In the time of grace and happiness entering.
And innovation. And it's wonderful to see so many familiar faces gathered tonight. We've been kind of separated through the years because of COVID. And we're also seeing new faces, people that we have perhaps only met through Zoom and Teams, new friends that we have connected with, worked with, and formed bonds with over the last few years. And we're just so grateful for your ongoing support that you have shown Committee of 100. And we're glad that you're able to join us this night for festivities, recognition, and camaraderie. I want to say a special hello and welcome to some distinguished members in our audience who, quite frankly, with their busy schedules, did not have to be with us tonight. But Congresswoman Judy Chu, I'm going to ask you to stand up. Congressman Ted Lieu, please stand up. Congressman Mark Cadamo. Congressman Gerald Issa. California State Senator David Min. California Assemblyman Mike Paul. We also have with us Deputy Mayor of Saratoga, Yang Chao. And former Ambassador Linda Xiaoyang.
不理解、包容，为人类征服癌症，不断的努力创新。So it's commonly said, behind every successful woman is a man who supports her unwaveringly. It is also commonly believed that behind every successful man, there's a woman who supports him steadfastly.
Career on the business side of biotech, I'm glad that I was able to persuade my wife, Jean, to start Turning Point Therapeutics. As we all know, drug discovery and development take enormous resource and effort. Jean and I are truly grateful to our investors.
Today's outing really showed the true support of our members and our colleagues, and so many people come to help to make tonight's conference successful. In the past 3-4 years, I've been working with our so-called C100 administrations I learned so much and really appreciate to have the chance to work, to learn, to communicate with different ideas and different approaches. So I can tell and I can see with our friends like Judy Chu, in her unwavering mission and vision, we can all work together, have a better future to handle the challenge. Now let's welcome Congresswoman Betty Chu.
And chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, or what we call KPAC, I'm so thrilled to be once again joining the Committee of 100 for your annual gala. This gala is one of the highlights of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And it's an unparalleled convening of leaders from the Chinese American and Asian American community. So thank you, C100, Gary Locke, our chair, the board of directors, the entire C100 team, and all of the sponsors here today.
I'd like to also thank the Committee of 100 for this prestigious award that I'm honored to accept on behalf of DoorDash's 100 CEO, Tony Xu. As a Chinese American, it's inspiring to be part of this evening that celebrates leadership and inspires us to reflect on how we can all make an impact to our community and to our industry. Since DoorDash's funding, our mission has been to empower local economies. And we're proud to do this every day by creating economic opportunities for supplemental earnings for Dashers, expanding the reach for merchants, and to create conveniences for our consumers. Our economic report, released just yesterday, bears this out.
Work that you continue to do for the Chinese American and AAPI communities. Your work is crucial, and I'm proud to be honored to have. I know that this award doesn't just represent me. It represents and honors all of our employees and partners at DoorDash, in addition to the Dashers, merchants, and communities we work with and part of every single day. It's also a tribute to my mom and dad, who came to the U.S. when I was 5 and dreamed to build a better life for our family. I grew up washing dishes in the restaurant that my mom ran, and we started DoorDash to help local business owners like yourself. We wanted to help them succeed by transforming the traditional business model of last miles away through technology and innovation. That innovation has resulted in us being in charge of everything together.
Thank you so much for this award, and to Walter, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I wish I could read what you have introduced me at all my events. And thank you, Shirley. Great to see you tonight and your family. I want to give a shout out to your chairman, Gary Locke, for his great leadership. And thank you, Z, for your service to the Committee of 100, and have awesome fun on your upcoming wedding. I'm honored here to be with my congressional colleagues, all of whom are amazing. You heard from Judy Chu. Not only was she the first female Asian American woman in Congress, but she has been fighting for this community for a very long time. And under her leadership as chairwoman of KPAC, we have the highest number of Asian Americans in Congress in U.S. history. colleague Mark Takano.
Okay, that's 100%. So we know how important this award is. So it is my privilege and honor to introduce Janet and my friend to this 2023 C100 honoree Lifetime Achievement Award for Culture and Arts. Janet, her extraordinarily successful film career has helped build a cultural bridge between China and America. You are one of the most powerful and respected people in Hollywood, as demonstrated by your election last August as president of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science. Many congratulations here, Janet. You make us so proud. Let's give her a round of big applause.
I had no idea I was voted best dressed. Where did that come from? My God. Thank you, Angela. That was such a beautiful introduction. Thank you all for being here. It's really been quite the journey last couple of years, hasn't it? And amidst all the very unfortunate things that are happening in our community, the hate crimes, the false accusations of spying, there are pieces of good news. And in my bubble, we're all in a bubble, in my bubble there's been a lot to celebrate. I want to start out with a quiz though. Okay, Asian parents tell their children there are 3 things you can be in life. What are they? Number 1, doctor. Number 2, lawyer. Number 3, failure. However, this has changed this past year because now you can be a doctor, a lawyer, or an Oscar winner. That's how far we've come, and it's taken a long time. And I could not be more proud to be presiding over the Academy this particular year. I wish I could say I had something to do with the voting, but of course I did not. We have 10,000 members, we have 18 branches, we have 750 staff members. It's a very large organization, but I do like to think that we are in an environment that I've helped foster of inclusion, and we really have come a long way. So I thought I'd just share a couple of things. I know there are a lot of Gen Zers in the room, and maybe this is more for you because I have reflected on what this journey has been like and what